When David sinned in that terrible affair with Bathsheba, do you think he ever imagined for a moment that one day God would put his sin in a Bible for all the world to read? Or do you think he ever had the idea that one day his sin would be portrayed on the silver screen and millions of people would watch what he had done? Aren't you glad God doesn't do that when we sin? Aren't you glad that when we confess our sins, God clears the record, He covers them with His blood, and He casts our sins in the depths of the sea? Now we're given the background to David's confession in 2 Samuel chapters 11 and 12. It is his affair. It is a sordid affair. It is a terrible thing. It is as old as the Garden of Eden. It is current as the experience that people have today. The Bible says about David that he saw, he sent, and he took, and he had an affair, and he committed immorality with Bathsheba. But just a few days after that, David received a 4-word note that rocks his world. Bathsheba sent him a note, and she said, "I am with child." Can you imagine how that must have made this man David feel? In fact, David spent about a year trying to cover up his sin. Let me give you a principle found in Proverbs 28, verse 13. That verse says, "He who covers his sin shall not prosper, but whoso confesseth and forsaketh them shall have mercy." Now here is the Bible principle. The sins that we cover, God will uncover. But the sins that we uncover, God will cover. So for about a year, he tried to cover his sin. But the last verse of 2 Samuel chapter 11 says that the thing that David did displeased the Lord. You see, secret sin on earth is open scandal in heaven. So God sent the prophet Nathan to David, as you recall, and before David realized it, the sword was at his neck, and he heard 4 more words that ripped the camouflage off of his heart. Nathan the prophet said to him, "Thou art the man." And David knew that the sins he had tried to cover, God uncovered. And what was true for David is true for you. It is true for me. It is always true. The sins that we cover, God will uncover. The high cost of sin. You know, the most priceless thing in the world is the human soul. Jesus said, "What will it profit a man if he gain the whole world and lose his own soul?" That's the most priceless thing, is your soul. But the most expensive thing in the world is human sin. All the mathematicians cannot add it up. All the calculators cannot compute it. The most expensive thing in all of the world is sin.
Wouldn't you like to know that it's all gone? Wouldn't you like to know it's all gone? You don't really love that sin. Not really. Not now. You used to once. You see, we used to sin without knowing it was sin. And then we discovered it was sin, and we still sinned. And we sinned because we loved it. And then there came a time when we realized that we were sinning because we couldn't help it. Yeah. And the devil said, "Now I got you see." And then you came to sin and you hated it. That right? You sinned and found yourself bound by a deeper love for it than conscious love really is. It's the love for sin that binds you to it. And love is a deeper thing than you've ever discovered. And this is the great discovery, that there's a greater love that has a greater power and can break this thing down in the subconscious and right down deep there in the spiritual realm of you. Amen. Glory be to God. And when a man cries unto God in his helplessness, and cries unto God in all his hatred at last, in the conscious realm that his inner being loves and craves for, and thinks it cannot live without, and he calls unto God, that's when salvation takes place. Amen. And then a man stops sinning. God delivers him from it. He can't stop by his own volition. He can't stop by his own prayers. He can't stop by anything he does. He can only stop sinning when God stops him. And God brought every man to a full stop at Calvary. Amen. And all your sin, all of it, praise God, it can all go in one great decisive stroke of God, one great deep inner cleansing, one utter and eternal forgiving. God can do it. Here's the core of our gospel. We're wasting our time. We've got no more than they may be doing half drunk in a public house this night, jigging and singing. Unless we're singing and rejoicing because sin's dealt with. Amen. It's all gone. Oh, precious, precious Lord. And the devil can't accuse you with it anymore. In Romans chapter 4, he said, blessed is the man to whom the Lord will not impute iniquity. See, he doesn't just forgive it, he just won't impute it. Doesn't matter if everybody gets before God and says, you know he's been a rotter, she's been a terror, he was a thief and a whoremonger, he cheated me. Whoa, 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 all this sin, God says, no, no, I won't impute it to them. I won't. And if the devil comes and says, he won't impute it to you. He says, what's all this talk about sin? What's all this? I laid this all on my son. I dealt with this. He's atoned for that. That's all gone. You can't be blamed. You can't be accused. God will not be persuaded to blame you for anything. And he won't even listen to anybody that's trying to persuade him to do it. And how about that? Blessed is the man to whom the Lord will not impute iniquity. Amen. Isn't that tremendous? Say, oh, you know, 20 years ago he did this. And sometimes the devil tries that. He drags up something that took place 20 years ago. You see, he tries to, and he tries to push it on you. You see. But you might be having a dreadful time, but the Lord is saying, no, I will not impute this to them. I won't do it. And all you've got to do, beloved, is come to your senses and realize it's all been forgiven and it's all gone. Hallelujah. And you can't be tormented about it, and there's no hell in your mind, and there's no sin in your heart. And if you'll go right on with the Lord Jesus Christ, you'll get to the place where you won't remember it against yourself anymore, because he won't remember it against you. Amen. What a tremendous thing it is to know that the sin's gone. Now you can have that wherever you are. Whoever you are, you can know uttermost forgiveness. It's a free gift. I give you an invitation to accept it. In Jesus' name. I give you an invitation in the name of Jesus to believe him. Utterly. This is the great basic commission of our gospel, that we preach this great good news to men and women, that they can know that sin has been dealt with, that the price has been paid, that the blood has been shed, and that forgiveness is as free as the air you breathe. And you can receive it directly from the hand of God. If you've never done that, I invite you in Jesus' name to do it now. You get this settled with God. You needn't have it weighing you down and destroying you down to hell. You can be relieved of your burden. You can come to peace of heart and mind. You can be instated with God as a son, as though you've never blotted your escutcheon or committed one sin or done one disgraceful or dishonorable deed. You can stand before God entirely exonerated, cleared in the record and cleared in your conscience, cleared in your heart, cleared before God, cleared before devils, cleared before men, cleared before heaven, cleared before earth, cleared before hell. You can be utterly rid of it. Right deep down there it can go. Money can't buy it. Works can't achieve it. Turning over a new leaf is but to blot the new leaf like you sullied the one before it. The only way you can come is humbly and meekly and straightforwardly to Jesus Christ, opening your heart and your mind to believe Him, to receive Him, and to have the gift of free and uttermost salvation. Not only will God forgive your sin, but He will rectify your heart and life so that you don't start out again to do it. He will adjust you by the power of His Spirit within, so that you will live before God cleanly, righteously, holily, before men, and before devils, and before angels. You will be able to walk this earth and be clear of it all. That's what you'll be able to do. What a wonderful gift this is.